Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening Show today with your host Ram. In this cricket show, we are going to look at the ICC awards that has been announced for 2013. The Australian player Michael Clarke, the Australian cricket captain, who is on a real high now with the Ashes Test series, almost they have already got 2 victories under the belt. And when he took the captaincy, he passed through a very tough time, as you know, in international cricket. But he has come up trumps in the ICC awards function, where he was named not only the Cricketer of the Year, also the Best Player of the Year. In fact, he was awarded the Cricketer of the Year, which is the Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy, and he was also announced the Test Cricketer of the Year. In fact, as you know, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the Indian captain, was also nominated, but Michael Clarke went ahead of him, and I thought he richly deserved so. So Michael Clarke has been named the ICC Cricketer of the Year. So the ICC Awards 2013, the awards have been announced, and I'll be talking about them in a very brief manner. So that is what I'll be starting off with in this Cricket Happening Show. And also we will be looking at the second test between New Zealand and West Indies, which was over in a tries. I mean, as you know, New Zealand last time, the rain came to their rescue and saw to it that New Zealand couldn't get the victory. In fact, rain thwarted their hopes. And another thing was that Brendan McCullum was really looking out for a test win under his belt after a long time. And let me tell you, this was the first win by New Zealand against West Indies, and what a victory it was. There's a bolt from the blue there in the name of Trent Boult came in with all his in-swinging deliveries that he had. He had all the West Indies batsmen in real trouble, and in fact West Indies showed very poor technique, and West Indies were wound up. In fact, Trent Boult went on to take his first 10-wicket haul in Test cricket, and he was named man of the match. Not only that, the match was over on the 3rd day itself. Such was the force of the New Zealand bowling yesterday, especially Trent Boult, who finished with figures, had 10 wickets in the match. In fact, first West Indies were bowled out for 193, 15 overs, 5 maidens, 40 runs and 6 wickets for Trent Boult, shook them pretty hard. And then Trent Boult once again used very wisely by the New Zealand captain Brendan McCullum, as Trent Boult went on to bowl 12.5 overs, 2 maidens, 40 runs and 4 wickets, and West Indies in their second dig were all out for 175, and thus the match ended on the 3rd day itself at the Basin Reserve in Wellington, with New Zealand winning this particular test match by an innings and 73 runs. What a match it was. So I'll be talking about that briefly, and then we will look at the Ashes test match, the 3rd test match, which started at the WACA ground in Perth, and stumps on day 1. Australia initially were really struggling. If you look at the scorecard, they were 143 for 5 at one stage, but thanks to Stephen Smith registering an unbeaten century towards the close of play, and was given good support by the late order from Brad Haddin, the wicketkeeper, who continued his wonderful form in this particular Ashes Test series, and Mitchell Johnson, who has always been contributing with both bat and ball, also contributed with an unbeaten 39 to his name, and as both of them took this Australian score to 326 for 6 at the close. So that was a great recovery by England, because looking at the score at 143 for 5 and Bailey was out, probably England would have probably thought that this is the time for them to bowl out Australia. But let me tell you, Stephen Smith played wonderfully well, and he got good support from Brad Haddin and Mitchell Johnson, and that took Australia to a very respectable score on stumps on day 1 of this 3rd test match between England and Australia at the WACA ground in Perth, and they were 326 for 6. So I will look at that. But in the meanwhile, also there's one more news that I would like to give you, is that the second T20 match has just begun here at the Dubai cricket ground. And this is the second T20, as you know. Pakistan actually won the toss, and they have actually elected in fact, they have actually put Pakistan, they have put Sri Lanka into bat. In fact, Sri Lanka are the ones who are bowled, and Usman Khan is playing. He has bowled the first delivery to Pereira. Yes, it was Kushal Pereira who was taking strike. and well, it got a bottom edge to that delivery, and Sri Lanka had to get off the mark. So the first ball was bowled by Usman Khan. As you know, Usman Khan bowled only 1 over the other day, so we are waiting for Usman Khan to come in and bowl his second delivery. So Kushal Perera and Tilkat Dilshan opening the innings for Sri Lanka. So Pakistan winning the toss and putting them in. Okay, so now we will come back to that later. In the meanwhile, before I leave this cricket show, I'll give you a live cricket update. So again, as I said, I have to cover a lot of things, so you might not see your host Ram speaking in greater detail, but I would like to hit on all the salient features of the game. First, let's head on to the ICC Awards 2013, which was announced yesterday. As far as the ICC Awards were concerned, well, the winner, as I said, the Cricketer of the Year award, which is known as the Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy, went to the Australian captain. Not only that, the Australian captain Michael Clarke was awarded two big honours there. He was named the Cricketer of the Year 2013 and also the Test Cricketer of the Year 2013. And what a proud moment for Michael Clarke there, named the Test Cricketer of the Year and the Cricketer of the Year. So congratulations to Michael Clarke, the Australian captain, who is on a real high right now, as he is already leading in the Ashes series 2-0, and also has been contributing admirably with the bat. As far as the ODI Cricketer of the Year was concerned, it went to Kumar Sangakkara of Sri Lanka, who has shown extreme consistency in one-day cricket. The Emerging Cricketer of the Year went to India's upcoming star Cheteshwar Pujara, who has really modelled himself on Rahul Dravid. And Emerging Cricketer of the Year went to Cheteshwar Pujara of India. And the Associate and Affiliate Cricketer of the Year went to Kevin O'Brien of Ireland, who put all those knocks to take Ireland to help Ireland to actually qualify for World Cup 2015. The 2020 International Performance of the Year went to Umar Gul of Pakistan when he took, I think it was against New Zealand, where he took 6 wickets for a single-digit runs. And then the Spirit of Cricket Award went to the Sri Lankan player Mahela Jayawardene for walking out when he was given. When I think his score was 91, and it was a very crucial test which was played in Galle against New Zealand. He walked out, even not looking at the umpire. So that was the reason he was given the Spirit of Cricket Award. He richly deserved it. And the Umpire of the Year won this time, which is called the David Shepherd Trophy, went to Richard Kettlebrough of England. So that is as far as the ICC Cricketer of the Year awards are concerned. From here, let's head on to the second test. In the meanwhile, I see there's some real blasting going on at the Dubai cricket ground, as Tussal Pereira has actually hit Usman Khan, the rookie, for a 6-year. So that's a good shot from Pereira. Pereira slashed at it and the ball went over the offside fielders for a 6. And now the next delivery, Pereira went onto the back foot, and this time he has slashed it over point for 4. So suddenly there's some fireworks going on in this particular over, the first over of the second T20 match, where Sri Lanka are right now 11 for no loss with 5. In fact, they are 11 for no loss with 1 more ball to come in this Usman Khan over. So Usman Khan getting a tap in this particular over. I'll come back to that later. But let's go on to the second test between New Zealand and West Indies. As I said, last time it was rain which actually helped the West Indies, and one was really hoping that West Indies were well placed on the second day. As you know, they had lost only 4 wickets, and as I said, they were 158 for 4, if I'm not wrong. And in a space of 35 runs, West Indies totally collapsed. It was all thanks in the main to Trent Boult. Trent Boult, as I said, came like a bolt from the blue, and he started picking wickets. He picked up all the wickets with in-swinging deliveries. As I said, the West Indies technique was something which was really shaky. As you know, Shivnarayan Chandrapal, it was Samuels who was there, along with Dean O'Ryan. But it all started with Dean O'Ryan, the first wicket to go, caught Taylor Boult for 22. After that, Samuels left, caught by Watling behind the wicket of the bowling of Boult for 60 with 11 fours. After that, it was the tail was totally wiped out. Dinesh Ramadhan, the wicketkeeper, was not out on 12 of 19 balls with 2 fours. As I said, Trent Boult was all over the West Indies yesterday. He swarmed over them by picking up first Darren Sammy. In fact, what he did is he clean bowled 3 other batsmen. First he disturbed the timber of Darren Sammy for a duck, then he disturbed the timber of Shane Shillingford for a duck, and then he disturbed the timber of Tino Best for a duck, and finally Shannon Gabriel was clean bowled by Tim Southee for duck, and West Indies were routed for 193. From a position of 158 for 4, one would have probably expected West Indies to put up a much better show, but Trent Boult really came in. As I said, his in-swinging deliveries were absolutely lethal, and that is his stock delivery, as you know, and that is what brought the downfall of West Indies. But there are no excuses for the way the West Indies technique really shaped up against the bowling of Trent Boult. So Trent Boult, not only that, he got his best test figures here with 15 overs, 5 maidens, 40 runs and 6 wickets. Tim Southee, 15.5 overs, 2 minutes, 2 for 58. I'm not going to go into the other bowling figures because of short of time. And from 193, well, Brendan McCullum decided that he is going to, as you know, in the as you would remember in the first Test match, what Brendan McCullum did is he actually made West Indies follow on. So in this particular Test match too, it was the similar scenario where what he did is he asked West Indies to follow on, and West Indies in their second leg showed a lot of application and dedication. One looked like the openers were really doing a good job there with Kirk Edwards and Kieran Powell really playing in the best way possible, not really taking any risks, not really trying to flash at balls outside the off stump, but everything was going well. I mean, if you look at the score, there were 74 for no loss at one stage, but after that things started happening for New Zealand as Neil Wagner, who has not been really bowling so well, came in and picked up 2 wickets in quick succession. First he broke the opening partnership between Kirk Edwards and Kieran Powell by first, in fact it was Tim Southee who actually gave them the breakthrough. Tim Southee first picked up the wicket of Kieran Powell, who was clean bowled by Southee for 36 with 5 fours. He went on, and Darren Bravo, the double centurion, had a match I would say he would really like to forget, as what happened was Darren Bravo was a victim of Neil Wagner. As you know, Neil Wagner the left arm pace bowler has not been doing well so far, but yesterday the ball that he produced to get Darren Bravo was a real, I would say it was a real climbing delivery. Darren Bravo with his height tried to avoid it, but well, in the end it had already taken the edge of his glove and it has gone to Brian Watling's hands, and he was gone for a blob there, and the score became 75 for 2. After that, Darren Bravo out for a duck. After that, Marlon Samuels couldn't do much. Scott Anderson bowled Southee for 12, so that made the score 94 for 4. And then Shivnarayan Chandrapal was doing his job. He was trying to stay at the crease, trying to grind the New Zealand attack, but the problem was that there was absolutely no support from the other end, as Trent Boult was the one who came in and struck it big. In fact, what Brendan McCullum did, his captaincy was very good. He, in fact, in the second, if you look at the second innings, he preserved Trent Boult. What he did is he didn't want to burn him out, so probably gave him 2 overs and then took him off, and then he had Neil Wagner getting the wickets and then brought him towards the end, and Trent Boult responded in the best possible fashion by first getting the wicket of Dean O'Ryan, clean bowling him for 12. Once again, the in-swinging deliveries were something which was very difficult to cope for West Indies, and then he started picking up Darren Samuels, LBW bowled for a duck. Tino Best was Scott Fulton bowled. He actually cleaned up the tail in pretty quick time, and that was a very poor performance from West Indies. And West Indies, as I said, Shivnarayan Chandrapal was stranded, not out on 31 with 3 fours, and West Indies, well, they suffered an innings defeat by 73 runs. West Indies were all out for 175. If you look at it, there were 16 wickets which went, and out of those 10 wickets went to Trent Boult. In fact, he had taken 1, so let's say 9 wickets went to Trent Boult. Splendid bowling, but Brendan McCullum would be very happy with this, because Brendan McCullum was searching for his first win as the New Zealand cricket captain in Test matches. He got that, so he would be happy. And also New Zealand have got their first ever test win in 2013. Can you believe it? As far as the bowling figures were concerned, Trent Boult in the second innings too struck it big. 12.5 overs, 2 maidens, 40 runs and 4 wickets. Tim Southee, 11 overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 24, supported him very, very well. Neil Wagner also bowling very well, 17 overs, 2 maidens, 267. Corey Anderson, 11 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 29. And as I said, was all over. New Zealand now lead the 3-match series 1-0 with one more test match to go. So West Indies have one last test match, which is going to be played in Hamilton to probably try to draw the series. Whether that is going to happen, it is really, really left to question, because if West Indies don't change their technique, because they had this fallibility against India too, where they collapsed, and this is something that West Indies would definitely like to change the equation, because they have been suffering a lot of innings defeats of late, I suppose. So West Indies bowled out for 193 in the first innings, bowled out for 175 in the second innings. Trent Boult taking a 10-wicket back. Brendan McCullum getting his first victory as the New Zealand cricket captain in test matches. And as I said, New Zealand, this was the first ever victory in a test match in 2013 for New Zealand. And what a moment that would have been for New Zealand. So New Zealand winning by an innings and 73 runs in the second test match here at the Basin Zone, Wellington. Trent Boult for his absolutely splendid bowling exploits. Not only that, he also did well with the bat. As you know, he slammed 38 runs the other day, and he was named man of the match. Well, from here now we are going heading to the Ashes Test Series. I don't have much time, so I'm just going to skim through it here. As far as Australia were concerned, Australia and England, well, stumps on day one. Australia finished at 326 for 6. They really struggled. In fact, the bowling, the English bowlers were bowling very well. They took good advantage of the pace and bounce on the Wacker pitch, with Australia winning the toss and electing to bat. As far as Australia were concerned, Chris Rogers was the first to go, as after hitting 2 good boundaries of the bowling of Stuart Broad, he flicked the ball to mid-wicket and tried to go for a single. By the time Anderson, in one pick up and throw action, threw down the stumps of Chris Rogers for 11, he was gone, run out for 11 of 9 balls with 2 fours. David Warner contributed a very nice 60 runs with 8 fours and 1 6. Played very well. Shane Watson was a victim as he tried to cut a ball from Stuart Broad, which actually Swan held it just over his head. He was gone for 18 with 3 fours. Michael Clarke there was a good field placement being put by the English captain Alistair Cook, as he got himself at short, I think it was short mid-wicket, and Michael Clarke fell to that as Swan tossed up the ball. Michael Clarke went on for the drive and spooned a catch to Alistair Cook, who took it very well. He was gone for 24 with 5 boundaries. After that, suddenly the Australian team were really struggling, because after Michael Clarke was gone 106 for 3, and then David Warner fell to the bowling of Graham Swan, as he tried to carve a ball through the point region, but Carberry took a good catch and he was gone for 60 with 8 fours and 1 6 and 129 for 4. Rob Bailey came in, and Rob Bailey tried to pull a delivery from Broad, but only managed to, in fact, he lost the control of the bat actually, and the ball flew in the air. Peterson took the catch at the fence. He was gone for 7, and that made the score a very shaky Australian score of 143 for 5 at that stage. 143 for 5, but the good thing was that Stephen Smith was staying there, and Stephen Smith slowly was gaining in confidence. Yesterday, what was good about Stephen Smith's batting was that Stephen Smith was ready to actually bide his time. He was not a victim outside the off stump. As you know, he has been a bit fishy outside the off stump, but he has really learnt his lessons very well. That shows a lot of maturity in Steve Smith. He left those balls harmlessly go by to the wicketkeeper, and what he did is he played some very good pull shots, and he also opened his account with a 6 of the bowling of Graham Swan by smiting him over long on. In fact, he had 2 6s of the bowling of Graham Swan, and he started gathering confidence. Most of the shots that Stephen Smith played were on the onside. If you look at the wagon wheel, 80 runs of his score. In fact, he had an unbeaten century towards the close of play. He was not on 103 with 13 fours and 2 6s. But what was more important was that Stephen Smith was getting all his strokes, all his runs through the onside. His offside play was probably pretty restricted, because he knew that he had this fallibility, and he really played according to the needs of the game. And Stephen Smith was the one who really I would say, rescued Australia from a precarious position at 143 for 5, and then at the end of the day, thanks to Stephen Smith not out on 103, Australia had posted a healthy 326 for 6 at stumps on day 1 of this third test match played at the Western Australia Cricket Association ground in Perth. He got good company. It was also very important that he needed to get some support. Well, that support came in from the form man in this particular test series, Ashes test series, Brad Haddin, the wicketkeeper batsman, who really contributed very well, and this is what confidence can do to you. Haddin has been very consistent in this Ashes series. He was really examined a lot. I think Stephen Smith was examined a lot by Ben Stokes with some short deliveries, but he stood the test. Brad Haddin also played very well, continuing his good form in contributing 55 runs with 5 fours and 2 sixes. In fact, that was the partnership which enabled Australia to really recover from 143 for 5, because both of them added 124 runs for the 6th wicket and took the score to 267 before Haddin was a victim, caught Anderson Boult Stokes for 55 with 5 fours and 2 sixes. Stephen Smith reached his century, and Mitchell Johnson came in. Now Mitchell Johnson, as you know, he's having a psychological impact on these English players for sure, because what he did is he came in, he has been not only been contributing with the ball, one has to really make note of the fact that Mitchell Johnson has also been contributing very well with the willow too, and that's what he precisely did. He gave good support to Stephen Smith for Stephen Smith to go and reach his century, and he himself contributed an unbeaten 39 towards the close with 6 boundaries, 6 very well hit boundaries, and Australia closed the day on day 1 of the third test match at Perth against England at 326 for 6. So commendable performance in the sense Australia has to be really commended. As I said, Stephen Smith was the one who was responsible for Australia to recover from a precarious position of 143 for 5 to 326 for 6, with some good support from Brad Haddin and Mitchell Johnson coming in at the right time. Bowling figures: Anderson 17 overs, 4 maidens, none for 44. Even though he was wicketless, I thought he bowled well. Broad 17 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 78. Tim Bresnan, who was taken in the team and at the expense of Monty Panesar, 24 overs, 4 maidens, none for 72. Ben Stokes 14 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 52. Graham Swan was very costly. In fact, the Australian batsman had a real game plan against Swan, not wanting him to really pitch the ball, and started taking him on the full and hitting him. Even though they lost the wickets, I thought Graham Swan was really dealt very well by Stephen Smith, and Stephen Smith hitting Swan for 2 sixes too. So Swan finished with some figures that he wouldn't like to really read on. 17 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 71, and Joe Root bowled 1 over for 4 runs. So Australia 326 for 6 at close of play on the first day of the third test match. Meanwhile, let's go on to the cricket update, which is happening here at the Dubai Cricket Ground, where Sri Lanka are doing very well, and we are in the 4th over right now. And well, both these Sri Lankan openers are doing well, and for Sri Lanka, this is a must-win match for them, because there are only 2 T20s played. Pakistan have already won the first T20, so the second T20, if Sri Lanka has to win, they would be squaring the series. Otherwise, Pakistan would be taking the T20 series. Right now, like Sri Lanka has been doing a very good job. In fact, both the openers have been cracking a lot of boundaries, and right now the score, I'm going to leave you with this cricket update here with Sri Lanka 29 for no loss in the 4th over against Pakistan in the T20 game at Dubai. Kushal Perera is not out 15 of 14 balls with 1 4 and 1 6, and Dilshan is not out on 12 of 8 balls with 2 fours. Well, dear fans and subscribers, with this live cricket update from the Dubai Cricket Ground, your host Ram would like to say goodbye today. But again, tomorrow is a Saturday, as you know. It's a late edition of a Cricket Happening show, so keep your eyes glued on Cricket Happenings. Your host Ram will be there to share my cricket thoughts on the cricket happenings which are going to happen tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye. Thank you.